Dear learners, Assalamu alaikum. I cordially invite all of you to today's class activities. Our today's topic is Exercise 11 CQ20. Learning outcomes. At the end of this class, you all will be able to solve the CQ20 from the exercise 11. Main speech on the topic. Question 20. Following is the marks obtained in mathematics by 20 students of class 7. 50, 60, 52, 62, 42, 32, 35, 36, 85, 80, 81, 82, 47, 46, 48, 43, 49, 50, 56, 80. On the basis of this data, you are asked to answer 3 questions. First question, question A. How many kinds of data are there and what are they? Second question, question B. Make a distribution table taking 5 as class interval. Actually, you are asked to make a frequency distribution table taking 5 as class length. However, we should follow your textbook. Third question, question C. Draw a histogram from the obtained distribution table. Let us start to answer the question A. And the first part of the question is how many kinds of data are there. That's why solution of A. Answer of the first part. There are 2 kinds of data. And in the second part of the question A, what are they? So answer is they are number 1 primary or direct data and number 2 secondary or indirect data. Let us answer the next question. Question B. We should write all the data first, and it is better to write 10 data in each row. The first row there are 10 data, and in the second row there are 10 data, and there are 20 data in total. In question B, you are asked to make a frequency distribution table taking 5 as class interval. That's why we have to determine the number of classes first, and the number of classes is obtained from range and class interval. Since class interval is given as 5, that's why we have to calculate range. To determine the range, we have to calculate the highest and lowest values among the given data. Let us look for the lowest value first, and we start with 50. First data is 50, second data 60. 60 is greater than 50, that's why we should consider 50. 52 is greater than 50, that's why we should consider 50. 62 is greater than 50, that's why we should consider 50. 42 is less than 50, that's why we should consider 42. And the next data is 32. 32 is less than 42, that's why we should consider 32. In this way we should advance. 35 is greater than 32, 36 is greater than 32, 85 is greater than 32, 80 is greater than 32, 81 is greater than 32, 82 is greater than 32, 47 is greater than 32, 46 is greater than 32, 48 is greater than 32, 43 is greater than 32, 49 is greater than 32, 50 is greater than 32, 56 is greater than 32, 80 is greater than 32. That's why 32 is the lowest value. The same way we should look for the highest value. First data is 50, second 160, 60 is greater than 50, that's why we should consider 60. 52 is less than 60, that's why we should consider 60. 62 is greater than 60, that's why we should consider 62. In this way we advance. 42 is less than 62, 32 is less than 62, 35 is less than 62, 36 is less than 62, 85 is greater than 62, that's why we should consider 85. 80 is less than 85, 81 is less than 85, 82 is less than 85, 47 is less than 85, 46 is less than 85, 48 is less than 85, 43 is less than 85, 49 is less than 85, 50 is less than 85, 56 is less than 85, and finally 80 is less than 85. That's why 85 is the highest value. Therefore, range is equal to the highest value minus the lowest value plus 1. The highest value is 65 minus lowest value is 32 plus 1. 85 minus 32 is equal to 53. Thus we can write 85 minus 32 plus 1 is equal to 53 plus 1, which is equal to 54. Also given class interval 5. Since range by class interval is equal to range is 54 and class interval is 5, which is equal to 10.8. Therefore, the number of classes taking 5 as class interval is 11, which is the next integral value of 10.8, and 11 is acceptable because the number of classes will always be not more than 15 and not less than 5. Dear learners, it's very much important to remark that if the class interval is not given as 5, that you should consider the class interval as 10, but you should remember, if you consider the class interval is 10, then number of classes is less than 5, then you should consider the class interval as 5, because number of classes can never be less than 5. However, with the above information, we can make the distribution table as in the following. We have written class interval, tally marks, and frequency in the first row, and we will write the total in the last row. Since the total number of classes is 11, so the total number of rows will be 11 plus 2 is equal to 13, and the total number of columns will be 3 for 3 items: class interval, tally marks, and frequency. That's why we have drawn a table consisting of 13 rows and 3 columns. Let us now write the classes in the first column. If it is possible to write the first class interval starting with 30. Then we can have a convenient and nice pattern of class intervals for easy calculation. Since the difference between 11 and 10.8 is only 0.2, none of the intervals will contain the highest data 85. That's why the first class will be started with the lowest data 32 and the first class is 32 to 36. If you count 5 with your fingers starting from 32, then we'll get the upper limit 36, such as 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 5, and the upper limit is 36. In another way, we can write this class interval. Since class length is equal to upper limit minus lower limit plus 1, that's why if we add 4 with 32, then we'll get 36 as upper limit. If the class length is 10, then you will add 9 with the lower limit to get the upper limit. However, lower limit of the next class interval will be the next integral number of 36, that is 37. If you add 4 with 37, then we'll get 41 as the upper limit. In the same way, we can write the class interval as 42 to 46, 47 to 51, 52 to 56, 57 to 61, 62 to 66, 67 to 71, 72 to 76, 77 to 81, 82 to 86. If we write all the class intervals correctly, then you will always get a nice pattern of class intervals, such as 32, 42, 52, 62, 72, 82, 37, 47, 57, 67, 77. Similarly, 36, 46, 56, 66, 76, 86, 41, 51, 61, 71, 81. However, let us try to ensure where the given data will lie. We consider first the data 50. 50 is in the class interval 47 to 51. That's why a tally mark is drawn here to represent the data 50. Next, data 60. 60 is in the class interval 57 to 61. That's why a tally mark is drawn here to represent the data 60. In this way, we should write for 52 is in the class interval 52 to 56. A tally mark is to be drawn. For 62, a tally mark is to be drawn in the class interval 62 to 66. For 42, a tally mark is to be drawn in the class interval 42 to 46. or 32. A tally mark is drawn in the class interval 32 to 36 or 35. A tally mark is to be drawn in the same class interval. 36 in the class interval 32 to 36. That's why third tally mark is to be drawn here. 85 is in the class interval 82 to 86. That's why a tally mark is drawn here. 80 is in the class interval 77 to 81. That's why a tally mark is drawn here. 81 is in the class interval 77 to 81. That's why another tally mark is drawn here. 82 in the class interval 82 to 86. That's why another tally mark is drawn here. 47 is in the class interval 47 to 51. That's why another tally mark is drawn here. 46 is in the class interval 42 to 46. That's why another tally mark is drawn here. 48 is in the class interval 47 to 51. That's why third tally mark is drawn in the class interval 47 to 51. 43 is in the class interval 42 to 46. That's why another tally mark is drawn here. 49 is in the class interval 47 to 51. That's why another tally mark is drawn here. 50 is in the class interval 47 to 51 and is the fifth tally mark. That's why we'll make a group with this tally mark. Remember this. If the number of tally marks is 5, then you will always make a group in this way. 56 is in the class interval 52 to 56. That's why another tally mark is drawn here. 80 is in the class interval 77 to 81. That's why another tally mark is drawn here. Since there is no any data in the class intervals 37 to 41, 67 to 71, 72 to 76. That's why we should write the dashes there. Now we should write the frequency. Since the number of tally marks in the class interval 32 to 36 is 3, that's why frequency in this class interval is 3. Since the tally mark in the class interval 37 to 41 is 0, that's why frequency is 0 in this class interval. Since the number of tally marks in the class interval 42 to 46 is 3, that's why the frequency in this class interval is 3. Since the number of tally marks in the class interval 47 to 51 is 5, that's why 5 is the frequency in this class interval. And in this way we should write the frequency 2, 1, 1, 0, 0, 3, 2, and total is 20. Since the number of students is 20, that's why we have drawn the frequency distribution table correctly. Let us answer the next question. Distribution table for drawing histogram is given below. Class interval and frequencies we have already obtained in question B. In case of drawing histogram, we should make the discrete class interval into indiscrete class interval. In case of indiscrete class interval, upper limit of the first class interval and lower limit of the second class interval will be the same. It is the average of 36 and 37, which is 36.5. That's why upper limit of the first class interval will be 36.5 and lower limit of the second class interval will be 36.5. In the same way, average of 41 and 42 is 41.5. That's why upper limit of the second class interval is 41.5 and lower limit of the third class interval is 41.5. In this way, we should write the class intervals 46.5 to 51.5, 51.5 to 56.5, 56.5 to 61.5, 61.5 to 66.5, 66.5 to 71.5, 71.5 to 76.5, 76.5 to 81.5, 81.5. Lower limit of the first class interval and upper limit of the last class interval are not yet written. If we subtract 5 from 36.5, then we'll get the lower limit because the class length is 5 and it is 31.5. Similarly, if we add 5 with 81.5, then we will get the upper limit and it is 86.5. It is the way of making the discrete class intervals into indiscrete class intervals. But we can easily write the indiscrete class intervals from the discrete class interval. Just you have to subtract 0.5 from the lower limits of the class intervals and 0.5 should be added with the upper limits of the class interval, such as 32 minus 0.5 is equal to 31.5, 37 minus 0.5 is equal to 36.5, and so on. Similarly, 36 plus 0.5 is equal to 36.5, 41 plus 0.5 is equal to 41.5, and so on. For this, we should draw the histogram. Considering the three sides of the smallest squares of graph paper as 5 units of the class interval along the x-axis, and 4 sides of the smallest squares of graph paper as 1 unit of the frequency along the y-axis, the histogram has been drawn below. Let us take a sheet of graph paper and draw x o x prime and y o y prime as coordinate axis. All the class intervals will always be along the right sides of the x-axis and all the frequencies will always be along the upper direction of the y-axis. All the class intervals are of length 5, but the class interval 0 to 31.5 is of length 31.5. Since 5 units of the class interval equal to 3 sides of the smallest square, in unitary method we can write 1 unit of the class interval equal to 3 by 5 sides of the smallest square. Therefore, 31.5 units of the class interval equal to 3 by 5 into 31.5 is equal to 18.9 sides of the smallest square. This large length has been made in compressed form with the break mark, and 31.5 will be represented by the end point of this break mark. Since the class interval 31.5 to 36.5 is of length 5 and 5 units of the class interval is equal to 3 sides of the smallest square, 1, 2, 3. This point will be represented by 36.5. In this way, 1, 2, 3. This point by 41.5, 1, 2, 3. This point by 46.5, 1, 2, 3. This point by 51.5, 1, 2, 3. This point by 56.5, 1, 2, 3. This point by 61.5, 1, 2, 3. This point by 66.5, 1, 2, 3. This point by 71.5, 1, 2, 3. This point by 76.5, 1, 2, 3. This point by 81.5, and finally 1, 2, 3. This point by 86.5. Since 1 unit of the frequency is equal to 4 sides of the smallest squares, that's why we should write 1 after the 4 smallest square from the origin along the upper direction of the y-axis, and 2 after the 8 smallest square from the origin along the upper sides of the y-axis. In this way, we should write 3, 4, and 5. 5 is the highest frequency of the class interval 46.5 to 51.5. Since the frequency in the class interval 31.5 to 36.5 is 3, the length of the 12 smallest square will be the height of the rectangle on the base 31.5 to 36.5. Since the frequency in the class interval 36.5 to 41.5 is 0, the height of this rectangle in this class interval is 0. It means no rectangle exists in this class interval. The frequency in the class interval 41.5 to 46.5 is 3. That's why the length of the 12 smallest squares will be the height of this rectangle. So the frequency in the class interval 46.5 to 51.5 is 5. The length of the 20 smallest squares will be the height of this rectangle. Since the frequency in the class interval 51.5 to 56.5 is 2, the length of the 8 smallest squares will be the height of this rectangle. Since the frequency in the 56.5 to 61.5 is 1, the length of 4 smallest square will be the height of this rectangle. Since the frequency is 61.5 to 66.5 is also 1, that's why the same rectangle will be in this class interval. Since the frequency in the class interval 66.5 to 71.5 is 0. No rectangle exists in this class interval. Similarly, for zero frequency, no rectangle exists in this class interval. Since the frequency in the class interval 76.5 to 81.5 is 3, that's why the length of the 12 smallest square will be the height of the rectangle in the class interval 76.5 to 81.5. So the frequency in the class interval 81.5 to 86.5 is 2. That's the length of the 8 smallest squares will be the height of this rectangle. Dear learners, we should always draw the rectangle and coordinate axis with sharp pencil. If you have any query after participating in today's class activities, please let me know. Without any hesitation, I can assure you that it will of course be addressed with utmost importance. With this, I conclude here. Thanks. Best of luck.